Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming in to watch this video. And we're going to talk about obviously what happened today with Bitcoin. It was down quite a bit. It did bounce back a little bit. Miners were way down. They bounced up a little bit as well towards the end of the day, which was good. And then we got a couple stories to take a look at. Cipher provided some more updates about purchases for the joint venture. We got Cleanspark providing their numbers for December. They were really good, along with Terrawulf providing those. So we'll get it through all those. Chapters going to be down below for you guys as always. And as always, this is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. And I'm investing in flying coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Definitely helps me out. Okay, so let's take a look at the markets here really quick, see what's going on there. Bitcoin, you can see here, had a huge red candle going down quite a bit. It was really low. It was down to $40,625, basically at the bottom. It closed at $42,160, so it basically regained $2,200 back towards the end of the day here, but it wasn't a good start to the day in the beginning, but we did get close to it. The one thing that's still kind of out there, like I said before, is the CME futures gap that we have here between 39,000 and 40,500, something like that. That, I don't know. It's looking like it kind of wants to fill that gap a little bit here. It keeps going down on it. So, I mean, the bottoms here are still a little bit higher, so we may not get that gap filled, but if it does happen, we may get a wick down and then finally shoot back up potentially. So be mindful of that. If it does happen, that's a buying opportunity, I think, in my opinion at least. Okay, now for the miners, we only had 3 miners that were up today. The rest were down. The Annie was down 9.8%. Argo was up 12.4%. Not sure why. There wasn't any really news there for it. Bit Digital was down 2.1%. Bitdeer was down 9.6%. Bitfarms was down 1%. Cipher down 4.8%. Cleanspark down 2.8%. Cores was down 6.2%. DigiHost was down 4.7%. DMG was up 2.8%. Greenwich was down 11.2%. Hive down 2.0%. Hut down 2.1%. Iris Energy down 3.8%. Marathon, the third miner that was only up today, was up 2.02 or 2.2%. Mawson was down 3.3%. Riot down 2.4%. Soluna down 7.2%. Stronghold was down 2.8%. And Wolf was down 6.5%. Even though they provided actually pretty good numbers here for December and paying up some debt here. So that I thought it was going to be a good day for Wolf, but it wasn't. But here's what we do have for them. Let's take a look at the first story that we do have here, which is going to be on Cipher. So Cipher Mining announced a 60 megawatt expansion of its Bear and Chief joint venture data centers and purchase of 16,700 new miners from Canaan Inc. This is good, but there's a caveat to this. So with the joint venture, they only hold 49% of that, meaning that the revenue from that does not get reported on their balance sheet on their revenue sheet, income statement sheet. Does not get reported as revenue, it gets reported as assets. Okay, so that's the only caveat to that. Otherwise, I think this is great. They will get obviously more revenue from it, but it's going to be in the form of assets. So Bear LLC and Chief Mountain LLC purchased 2.5 exahash of latest generation Canon A1466 miners on favorable pricing and payment terms. I don't think I found the pricing on this. We'll see if we have it in here. Cipher expects to install the miners at its Bear and Chief facilities in the second quarter of 2024, representing an expansion of 30 megawatts or 1.25 exahash at each facility. Cipher's total self-mining capacity expected to be at 8.4 exahash after these new miners are installed. And you got to remember that the 2.5 exahash, when we do the math on it, 49% of that is only going to be going to them in the form of assets. So if we look at the calculator on my phone here, we got 2.5 times 0.49. That's basically 1.22 exahash that's going to be going towards them in the form of assets. So whatever BTC they get on it will be on the balance sheet as assets. Okay, going down here, let's see here if there's any, nope. Okay, so payment terms allow Bear LLC and Chief Mountain LLC to deliver up to 30% of the total consideration in the 90 days after delivery. So that's what they're talking about, favorable terms here. There isn't anything else in here, but it does obviously increase their joint venture thing. So if we look at the spreadsheet here on Cipher, we talked about Cipher yesterday on their production update, and we'll just take a look at the numbers that we have here for them. So these numbers here in pink are what they have for the joint venture, which includes Bear, Alvarez, and Chief. And these will obviously only included in the 2 locations they provided here. And they're saying they're going to be sometime in Q2, so that's going to be down the road here, but we do have those in here, and we are calculating them to possibly get to the, well, it's not in here yet, but I will update this. They're actually combined here, yeah, 8.2 exahash. So that is calculated in there already, as it is, or it actually isn't. So I will add that to it. for their self-mining, because right now we have self-mining at 7.2. With the 1.2 being added, it should be 8.4. Yeah. Okay. So that's it for that one. That was nice and quick and sweet. Let's take a look at our next one here, which is going to be on Cleanspark. So Cleanspark releases December 2023 Bitcoin mining update. The company mined 7,391 Bitcoins in 2023, which is a 60% increase over 2022. So good growth there, pretty good, really good growth. While Bitcoin holdings grew over 1,200% to 3,002 BTC, valued at approximately 135 million. So their HODL stack is increasing, which is also nice to see, especially as we get into the bull runs. Coming down here, let's see, this is a quote from, I believe, Zach. Yep. I am also immensely proud to share that all building structures for our Sandersville expansion are now complete, paving the way for energizing the facility next month. So they're talking about February sometime, so we're not too far away from that. That should get us to about 16 exahash, potentially in February and March timeframe somewhere. December Bitcoin mining update here. So mined 720 Bitcoin for the year. For 2023, they mined 7,391. Total Bitcoin holdings was 3,002. Total Bitcoin sold in December, 293. Deployed fleet of 88,924 miners. Month-end fleet efficiency at 26.4 joules, which is good. And current hash rate at 10.08 exahash, which is also really good. Okay, operational update here. So this is important. Sandersville construction has been completed on all 10 building structures for the 150 megawatt expansion. All Antminer XPs have been received and are in the company's custody in Georgia. So that's fantastic news. They have the miners, now they just got to plug them in and then wait for the energization to happen, possibly in February. In anticipation for the expansion, the company has also begun testing firmware upgrades on the newest Antminer S21s. So that's great. And all machines necessary for the 150 megawatt expansion have been delivered and are expected to be installed over the coming weeks as the company prepares for energization in February. So that's going to be a fun update there when they do happen. So great job to everybody at Cleanspark for getting the buildings built out in 2023 in preparation for 2024. So it should be an exciting year for them. Let's take a look at the numbers that we do have for them. Excuse me. And here's what we do have. Cleanspark, right there. Let's go back up to the top. Cleanspark has last reported 184.7 million shares out. Stock price as of, well, this was yesterday, so I forgot to update the stock prices here. I will do that and get that updated before I send this out to the Patreon members. So I'll get that updated. But yesterday, the stock price, the market cap was basically $2 billion on them. Their performance over the last 12 weeks has been really good. They're up 213% from 12 weeks ago, up 194 from 8 weeks percent. From 6 weeks ago, they're only up 6.7, and last week they were actually down 7.23%. Okay, total current hash rate is at 10.08 exahash. Future hash rate is going to be 10.6 roughly, depending which miners they get rid of. They could be closer to maybe to 20 exahash, something like that. So they still have a lot of growth left in them, basically double this coming year. And let's see, BTC HODL 3002. I have that 127 million based on the average Bitcoin price which was for December. So I need to update that as well. BTC production here has been continuing to increase here as of October, but it's been kind of up and down here throughout the year. Their prior best month was back in January 23 with 697, and then they beat that this time around in December of this year, or last year, 2023, with 720, and that is also mainly because of the Bitcoin transaction fees being added to it. That helped a lot of these miners out in December. Okay, you can see the month-over-month difference, BTC mined, BTC HODL also. Check this out. Nice increase in that over the last, I would say, what is that, probably 10 months or so. They've been continuing to stack on top of their HODL for the most part, except for a little dip here, or not even dip. Nope, they continue to increase every single month into the HODL, into the halving event, which is good because we know Bitcoin price is going to be going up in value, so that's a good strategy to use. Okay, BTC per exahash efficiency, got them at 71.4. That is up because of the Bitcoin transaction fees being added to it as well. BTC sold, how much they sold here. They only sold 293, so that's below their average of 395 over the past year, which is good. Then hash rates have been a little bit flat here over the last couple of months, and that's because they're waiting for the finishing of Sandersville and also the electricity company to plug in to their facility, which is going to happen possibly in January or in February now. Okay, monthly revenue here. Has also been increasing steadily over the last 12, 13 months here. You can see last December they were at 7.8 million in revenue. This December they were at 30.63 million revenue. So quite the nice increase, 4x from where they were roughly, right? If we use 8, it would be 3 point something, 3.8x in revenue. So that's also good there. Hash rate growth month over month. You can see that their Bitcoin sold value, what they sold each month, and then their last 4 quarters revenue, and plus the current quarter that we're in there. I'm estimating them to be about 73.7 million in revenue, which is going to be good. We'll get into these numbers here in a minute. We go over the quarterly results when they provide quarterly results. Institutions did increase a little bit to 232 from 229. The shares also increased a little bit from 71.0 million to 71.7 million. But the percentage actually went down to 39.03 from 46.6. Might be some dilution in there. I think that might be accounting for the dilution that happened in Q3, I believe. And then we got still 2 strong buy ratings, 3 buy ratings, 1 hold rating now. So that's a difference from the 2 strong ratings and 4 buy ratings that we had. And that's mainly because the price of the stock has gone up quite nicely. So somebody has basically, the stock price has gotten to somebody's point where they thought they should be at. Right? The price targets are at $14.20 for the high, the average $11.87, and the low at $8. The low is, I think, too low on that mark. Okay, but it has obviously increased from where they were before at $5.30 on the low and $9.97 for the average just a month ago. Okay, going down here, looking at what they actually have as far as miners, what those were operating like for the month of December here. You can see here that I had all the miners that they have to get to 10.08 exahash running for 31 days in the month. And then I still had to add 6.18 million in additional revenue from the Bitcoin transaction fees in there to come up with the 30.6 million in revenue, which I think is correct here, 30.633. Yeah, so we're pretty close to that. So that's kind of where we are. Yeah, 30.633. So huge gain in Bitcoin transaction fees for them. 6.18 million. That's, what is that percentage-wise of it? So if we have 6.185 divided by, was it 30.6? That is 20%. So 20% of the revenue was from transaction fees, which is huge. If the transaction fees continue going forward, it's going to be huge for not only them but all the other miners as well. But definitely a nice gain on that one. Otherwise, it would have been closer to 24 million, like it was the prior month in November as well. Okay, but even then they got 2.7 million in transaction fees added in there as well. But December was definitely a great month for that, so that's huge there. Okay, so based on that, all the numbers that we do have for them, looking at their numbers here, we can see that looking at the last 3 quarters, which have been reported, and the current quarter we're in, which is an estimate, which was actually Q4 numbers. We're not in the latest 2024 Q1 yet. Well, we are, but we're not tracking it yet. We will once that comes around here in the next 30 days. And then looking at their PE of 20, having between $11.59 to $17.39. They're currently at $10.88. That was yesterday, down a little bit today. So definitely undervalued in my opinion. And then if we look at December revenue, multiply it times the 3 months before the halving event, which is going to happen in April sometime, and then the 9 months after it, at 50%, we're looking at $12.44 to $18.66. So we're actually even higher on that, mainly because the revenue for the month of December was 30-some million. Okay, so that definitely helped things out. I believe that is it. So overall, great job by this Cleanspark team. Everybody there building out the facilities, getting things installed, getting ready to get energized. And they should reach 16 exahash probably within the next couple of months, which is going to be also very nice. All right, market cap, 2 billion. Yeah, not much else to say there. If you guys have any questions on it, hit me down in the comments below. Other than that, we just got to see where Bitcoin goes, right? It's going to be the same thing for all the miners. But they've done a great job here in the last year growing, so no qualms from me. Okay, next story is going to be on Terwaulf. Terwaulf also has some good news in here, which is nice to see. So Terwaulf announces December 2023 production and operations update. And here's what we have from them. December 2023 highlights. They self-mined 334 Bitcoin in December with an average production rate of over 10 Bitcoin per day. So that's great. Power cost averaged 11,212 per Bitcoin self-mine, or approximately 0.038 kilowatts per hour. And this is just the cost, I believe. This does not include the transmission fees, all that stuff that might be included in there as well. But it's still really good. Building 3 at Lake Mariner facility is operationally ready with energization of additional 18,500 S19J XPs miners expected in February 2024. Construction of building 4 is underway, so that's all good news there. And then their expansion of existing high-performance computing projects supporting generative AI and large language model applications, at the Lake Mariner facility planned for 2024. So that's also good news there. Now, this is really good news here. So they expect to repay approximately $14 million of debt with cash generated in Q4. So that was October, November, December timeframe. With an $11 million expected repayment in January 24, or this month, thereby reducing the company's future interest payments, which is good because they do have quite a bit of debt that's current that needs to be paid in the next probably 9 months or so. Here are the numbers again. Let me see here. Also, here we go. So this wasn't too good of news, but it wasn't too bad either. The Lake Mariner team also performed routine maintenance in December on primary transformer that feeds approximately 4,600 miners. The 15-day outage included replacement of the tertiary bushings on the unit as a preventive measure to ensure long-term reliability, added Farrell. So that's maybe why they're down a little bit here on the day. But production operation update, as previously announced, the company's completed substantial construction of Building 3 at Lake Mariner facility in December, which houses an incremental 45 megawatts of capacity and brings operational infrastructure capacity at the Lake Mariner site to approximately 160 megawatts. That's great. The infrastructure expansion and pending deployment of new 18,500 S19 JXP Bitcoin machines anticipated in February, so next month, this is going to be good, is expected to increase the company's total self-mining hash rate by approximately 58% from 5 exahash to 7.9 exahash. So that's fantastic news there. That will be a nice jump in for them. And it'll definitely help them with possibly getting more Bitcoins, which will then help them pay down the debt. So this is all good. Planning is underway for additional growth at Lake Mariner with the construction of Building 4 underway. Upon planned completion in mid-2024, Building 4 is expected to bring Terawulf's total operational capacity to approximately 10 exahash. Okay, so that's great. We don't have anything purchased yet to get them to 10 exahash, so I'm guessing we'll probably find something out later on in this year when that does happen. But that is it there. Let's take a look at the numbers that I have for them really quick, and we'll point some things out. Okay, so let's get to Terawulf. Terawulf is right here. And then I wanted to go over, so 14 million in Q4, and then another 11 million here, so about 25 million that they're expecting to pay off shortly. So we'll get into those numbers here in a second. Excuse me. Let me take a drink of my water. Okay, apologize for that. All right, so shares outstanding is 238 million right now. Stock price as of yesterday was $2.03. It was down a little bit today, but market cap is about 547 million right now. The performance over the last 12 weeks has been pretty good. 135% up from 12 weeks ago, 144 from 8 weeks ago. From 4 weeks ago, they're up 31%, and last week they were up 11.63%. Excuse me. Oh, my throat's starting to get dry. Current hash rate, okay, 5 exahash. Future hash rate about 7.98 exahash right now. They're supposed to get to about 10 potentially by the end of the year, maybe if things work out for them. BTC here, you can see that they peaked in June with 347 Bitcoin mined, and ever since then they have been coming down here on production, except for November and December, where we're seeing more and more Bitcoin transaction fees. That's helping them out there. Okay, HODL, they don't HODL anything. They sell everything that they mine. BTC per exahash efficiency has increased also here recently. Otherwise, it has been coming down. But it's up to 66.8 in December. So a little bit below, obviously, where Cleanspark is. So we do know that they curtailed a little bit, or curtailed. They were down for a little bit on some miners, so that might be a part of it as well. And then BTC sold, and you can see their hash rate here has been pretty flat ever since June of last year through December. That's why it's going to be nice for them to get a nice increase here, going to 7.9 potentially in February sometime. Looking at their BTC mined revenue, that has been the kind of roller coaster ride. It peaked in July with 9.93 million. Then was coming down for 2 months here. October went up here, and November and December, obviously, nice increases there as well to 14.21 million, which is good. Hash rate difference month over month, how much was added or removed. BTC sold value, how much they sold, and then the last 4 quarters revenue. You can see the continued increase in that, which is a great sign to see. And then current quarter, we're estimating about 35 million in revenue for Q4. Okay, now going down here, when we talk about their debt, you can see at the end of Q4 or Q3, they had 108 million. So if they pay down 25 million, that'll get them down to, what is it going to be, 83 million, roughly? Yeah, 83 million. They will have debt still. So that's still quite a bit. That's still obviously going to be a concern there, but if they can continue to pay that down, they should be okay. If the stock goes up, I wouldn't be surprised if they dilute a little bit just to pay down that debt even faster. That's kind of what I would do. I would just dilute some, and if the stock goes up, and be done with the debt to get that off the back there. And that way, I think investors would be more likely to jump into them. Okay. Now, institution side of things, as of today, increased a little bit here to 142. Shares also increased to 48.6 million from 47.9 million. Percentage owned is now 20.4 compared to 20.1 the month prior. We still have 1 strong buy rating, 4 buy ratings, 0 hold, 0 underperform, 0 sell ratings, and price targets actually went down on them. Excuse me, actually went down on them, which is crazy for me. Don't know why they would go down. They at $4 for the high, $3.40 for the average, and low $3. That just seems nuts. I don't agree with that. You guys can see the numbers there, but we'll get into the numbers here in a second. As far as the operational uptime here in the last in December, so I do have them at, let me see here, running for 31 days, but I only added 2.08 million in BTC transaction fees. Remember, if we look at Cleanspark was 6 point something million added to them, and they're at 10 exahash. So them being 5 exahash, they should have had at least 3 million, right around there on average, right? So that downtime there, plus possibly, I don't think they curtailed much. I mean, usually they're pretty right at their, right at the 99% uptime. So I'm guessing it was just that downtime there that kind of cost them a little bit here. But my guess is they should have been around 3 million based on what they have. Also, you notice that these miners over here, the 100 terahash, which are the older miners, which are less efficient at 3,400 watts per machine, those are probably going to be getting out. They did state they're getting rid of some of the older machines there. And then that does coincide with what they're actually saying that they're going to get to here. So that is good news there. So we took those out already here, and we put it in some more of the newer miners here. Then we do have the 18,500 that are ready to get installed, possibly in February here. So those are in as well. Okay. So I just want to point that out for you guys there. Let's see here. Going up to my numbers here. So looking at the last 3 quarters plus the current quarter we just finished, which was Q4, I have them at $4.23 to $6.35. They're currently at right around 2,030 cents. Definitely undervalued in my opinion based on this, but the thing might be with them is the debt. Debt is maybe what's kind of holding them back, and maybe that's why the analysts actually put a lower price target on them. Excuse me. Okay, then we look forward using the December numbers for revenue times the 3 months before the halving event and then the 9 months after the halving event at 50%. We're looking at $4.47 to $6.71. Okay, so still definitely an improvement from where they are here because they are generating more revenue. All right, so if the Bitcoin transaction fees continue, they get more hash rate, all the better for them. It'll help them pay off that debt. So if they can pay off 25 million in basically a quarter and a month, so basically 4 months, if they could, it's going to take them still a while to pay off the 80 some million here. But if Bitcoin goes up quite nicely, it might only take 6 months to pay that off. Who knows, right? Somewhere around there, maybe 6 to 8 months. That would be ideal, I think. That would definitely help the stock out if they were pretty much debt free at that point. Okay. Let's see. I think that is it. Otherwise, they're always really pretty much efficient. Their costs are good. No other real complaints except for the debt part there. Okay. So let me know what you guys think of that one. And I think that's it. So relatively easy one today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Bitcoin is obviously kind of up and down right now. It's trying to find its leggings before the halving event. And also, I forgot to mention this, the Patreons will have access to all the spreadsheets. So if you want to get access to all my spreadsheets, they're on Patreon. That's still $5 a month there. There's only, I think, 18 spots left at the $5 a month mark. After that, it's going to go up to, I'm still debating $7.50, or I'm going to bump it up to $10. Kind of just make it more of a scarce asset, I guess you could say. We're going to limit that to 1,000 members in there as well. So that's all going to be coming down the pipe. But I got to figure out which I want to do. I don't want to jack it up too high. I want to make it available to as many people as I can, but I also want to limit the amount of people that we do get in there. Okay, so we'll work with some numbers there, and we'll see what happens with Bitcoin and spot Bitcoin ETF as well. Will they get approved this week? Will they not get approved this week? It's going to be fun. It's a fun start to 2024. So we'll see how things go. All right. Again, thank you so much for coming in to watch this, spending time watching this as well. I know time is valuable, so I greatly appreciate it. And if you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And thank you to all the Patreon members, to the YouTube members as well. You guys are definitely a blessing and helping out tremendously being able to do this. So I do appreciate it greatly. So thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then,